without even putting my cycling shoes on, right? And we've got the fan. I think that's everything. Two-hour ride starting now. Garmin engaged. It's really nice outside. It's a bit of a shame to be indoors, but the roads are dangerous around here. Especially on a Thursday. People be busy. People are driving around and got stuff to do. People get around in quite a hurry in the Houston area. And there's some decent shoulders to ride on, but I'm not a fan of riding on the road during the week. It's much more relaxed on Sunday mornings. So that's when I do the vast majority of my outdoor riding. All right, let's go ahead and drop. We got the first leg. Right. Already had a really good strength workout, 2 breakfasts, nice walk with the dog. But I've been looking forward to this ride. 2 hour, it's not so much that it's a 2-hour easy ride, it's that the first time I saw it, I said, 2-hour easy ride, that sounds great. It's that trick that happens when you start doing these longer training rides where even 2-hour rides start to seem not short, but just kind of manageable. And it's another opportunity to practice that effort level that I'm going to be needing to rely on race day. Aerobic effort, low aerobic. That's really going to be the key to success for me. When I get back to Ironman, Texas, just 10 weeks until race week. This feels really easy, but it should feel easy right now. I'm gonna use ERG mode to set the power today. I just want to focus on keeping my cadence up. And then after the first half an hour, we'll see where my heart rate is. And I might increase the power to try and bring my heart rate up a little bit higher into that aerobic zone if it's not there already. Looks like there's like a little bit of a mountain towards the end of this course, which I think will be a little be interesting. Cruise for a while, climb up a mountain, ride down the other side, Sounds like a proper adventure on Zwift. And we're riding in France today. Taking a little break from Watopia. And after this, I get to go to the dentist. But I definitely have time for a shower in between the ride and the dentist. I wouldn't do that. Wonder if they've ever had anybody roll up for their dentist appointment wearing cycling gear. I mean, I've gone to the grocery store dressed like this, but I've never gone to a doctor's appointment. Oh well, I'm still young. Plenty of time. Nice crisp, cool air coming in from outside. Oh, what was that? Sounds like really weird pop-up. I don't know. Maybe it was just some riding on the road. Man, I tell you what, these tri-rig extensions are very comfortable. It's like Upgrading from a love seat to a couch. Very nice. I still want to angle the cups up a little bit to get my forearms a little more support. But overall, great. Easily the best arm cups I've ever used. All right, nice gradual warm up. You know, I should probably put my heart rate and power zones in the description of each video. Just thinking out loud here, because I've had enough discussions about it here, and it's a lot to try to talk about. It'd be much easier if I just listed it all. And then, next time I do an FTP test, I'll do it live, I'll do it on this YouTube, and that way there'll be full transparency about my zones and the tests that I'm doing to determine the zones. I think that's the way to go. That would be the most transparent approach. It would also probably invite the most discussion. Yes, I firmly believe that getting the heart rate up, just being silent, it just really helps, the brain just starts to come alive with ideas. I really enjoy that part of this type of training. Because in theory, easy effort should feel easy, but it also can feel good. Something that's nice and easy, it feels good. I mean, these are the type of training sessions that I really try to enjoy. So far, we're off to a good start. I know I'm going to be on the trainer for 4 hours this Sunday. I've got some nutrition coming in the mail that I think is going to really help So looking forward to that ride on Sunday. I'm gonna try to start really early. Maybe like 6 a.m., 6:15. It'd be awesome if I could be done by 10:30 or so. Still have a little bit of day left. Minutes. A little bit of hydration mix in this bottle. That power target slowly climbing up. Heart rate slowly climbing up as well. I'm gonna try to spend about 4 minutes down here in the time trial spot. Average cadence sitting at 91. Average power sitting at 170. Gotta have that average cadence over 90 today. It's automatic. Alright, this position feels better than it has in a couple weeks. I'm gonna try to spend as much time down here as I can today. Power going up slightly. trying to focus on breathing today too. Just deep breaths. Full exhales. It's kind of a relaxing song. Alrighty, so we're up into that zone 2 power range. Heart rate is just dancing right at the top of zone 1. Get some more water in there. Catch me in my zone 2. Yo, what it do? Catch me zone 2. Fresh avocado. Zone 2. Yo. What it do? Catch me my zone 2. Yeah, heard you too. Catch me in my zone 2. Yeah, go on, do. Catch me zone 2. Fresh avocado. My zone 2. Hey Webster, you know, we'll try it today. Let's see what happens. I don't like it. I can't do it. I'll work up to it. I still like the 10-minute, the 30-second break every 10 minutes. Yeah, man, thank you for hopping in the comments. Nice and easy ride today, nothing crazy. Trying to spend time in my zone 2 power, zone 2 heart rate a little bit. And yeah, just trying to spend some time in the TT bars today. Don't know how people pedal for 2 hours. Well, I don't know. As I've gotten older, I've been able to handle the longer efforts a little better. I don't know if that's because your perception of time just changes as you age, maybe. I mean, I'm not that old, I'm 40, but you know, I have a 10-year-old, and if I tell him, hey, we're gonna do something in 45 minutes, he'll be like, 45 minutes is literally forever. And now, as an adult, I feel like 45 minutes, we're talking like maybe get like one thing, I don't know. That will go by in a blink if you're not careful. Oh yeah, so you are like into it, super, you know, that's interesting. I mean, I wouldn't say that I just crave pedaling for 2 hours. I think it's more of a big picture thing where I want to be successful at this Ironman distance. And so in my mind, I'm like, in order to do that, I need to get really comfortable just pedaling for 2 hours, for example. So it's like, it's sort of like a means to an end, if you will. That's the way that I think about it. And things like power meters and cadence sensors and heart rate, all that stuff is pretty much, I feel like that's all the engagement that I really need. I mean, Zwift is a nice cherry on the top, but I really barely use all the features of Zwift. I use it just like a, I don't know. I'm not stuck into the racing or any of the upgrades or so I'm not like I did 3 hours of riding on my trainer on the sidelines of a marathon recently. So just 3 hours, but it was really engaging because I'm watching tens of thousands of athletes come across, you know, there's the Houston Marathon, so. And I definitely felt like, man, I couldn't have done this 3 hours going nowhere stuff. A couple years ago, I would have been like, no way. So I've noticed a shift in my perspective. Nice. No, I don't have Mantis bars. That's a nice setup though. That's cool. Like I think that there's a very good chance I could get more out of myself on like an interval workout if it were like structured like a, one thing I've seen on Zwift that I think is really interesting are team time trial competitions. That looks like fun. Like that's something that I think would push me outside of my comfort zone or my discomfort zone, right? $50 tooth. I have a really big chain ring. It's a little silly. I mean, I can explain why. I was doing a training ride for Galveston 70.3, and on that particular day, the wind conditions were so crazy that I got like the fastest hour of cycling I've ever experienced in my life. I traveled 28 miles in 1 hour. And at the time, I had a 53 or a 52 tooth, and I was completely out of gears. Like I was going 31 miles an hour, 110 RPM, just nothing left. And since I was getting ready to race Galveston in a couple weeks, my mind went to, hey, if conditions are like this on race day, I need bigger gears. So that led me to this 55 tooth behemoth. Now, I've ridden hundreds of miles since that period in 2023. I have never once come close to needing this 55 tooth chain ring. If anything, all I've done is make it so that the intervals between my gears when I'm in my big ring it's really hard to find a sweet spot. Like one gear will be too hard, and then the next gear will be way too light. But yeah, spent a little bit of time going super fast on my bike and thought, I better get used to this. I need a bigger chain ring. Oh well. I still had a fantastic race that year. My 70.3 PR, 4 hours, 44 minutes. It all came together like butt cheeks that day. I'll tell you what. Arguably the most satisfying race experience of my life. I've never had a race, even a shorter race, where I felt on top of it from the start of the gun all the way to the finish line. I just felt like a man on a mission. The effort didn't even, I don't even remember it feeling difficult. I was just on top of it that day. I had one moment in like mile 12 on the run, so less than like a mile from the finish line. I had one moment at that point where I felt like I wanted to stop. And I had recently done Ironman Florida. And all it took was I was like, bro, you did a full Ironman, like you don't gotta stop right now. You got one more mile. Boop. Snapped out of it. Great finish. Yeah. They can't all be that good. They can't all be that good. Bike I'm riding is a Ridley Dean RS time trial bike. Ridley's a Belgian brand. My other bike is also a Ridley. I have a Ridley Noah that was a gift from my older cousin. Got me back into the sport all the way back in like 2011, 2010. And so I'm a bit of a Ridley fanboy. So yes, I got two Ridleys. One of them is like 25 years old and this one's like 15 years old. So they don't make this bike anymore. And then I've got some SRAM Force mechanical, and I got a tri-rig extensions and cups, and I got a Vision base bar with Vision brakes. And I got 5 water bottles. It's one of my favorite things about this bike. I'm like a camel. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That means I can carry thousands of calories for my long rides. Rim brake? Yeah, me too, bro. Hell yeah, rim brakes. I've never actually done a ride on I've never done a road ride with disc brakes before. Mountain biking, I have a little bit of experience with disc brakes and mountain biking. Good stuff too. Hell yeah. Trek got a nice time trial bike, dude. One of the athletes I was coaching for, basically right when he got into the first when he got into the sport, hired me as a coach. Worked with him for about 2 years, and along the way he purchased a brand new Trek, and that was really exciting, man. That thing, sweet. He got the top of the line one, like the same one that the pros use. Same frame anyway. I want to buy a Trek Roscoe. 32? Cool. Oh yeah, TT bikes. pricey, but the thing is, I mean, I paid $500 for this frame, and the rest of the components I already owned. So, I mean, for me to get this new bike back in 2023, I mean, realistically, we're looking at like $500 for the frame, and the value of this front end is somewhere around $300, but I'm very, very fortunate to have a sponsor in the form of a nonprofit that helps veterans, and so I don't believe I paid very much at all for these. That was part of the support from the foundation there. So, I mean, if I had to buy it all, it'd be like $800. So, I mean, for me, the cost of a new bike was around $800. But if I wanted to get a new Ridley, because they just came out with one too, whoo, talking like 10 grand, right? Hell yeah, dude. Oh yeah, I don't have a lot of bike envy. I've done this long enough to like, I love passing people on $12,000 bikes, bro. Yeah, I mean, there's a very good chance that the winner of each age group is probably rocking some pretty expensive stuff, but I'm not at that point in my racing where I need to make sure I'm on the best possible machine. I got a lot of work to do on my engine. So, yeah, man, that's my philosophy, and I do a lot of thinking about this because triathlon is a sport that I've gotten so much from and I really enjoy, despite whatever financial investment it's been. And I just feel like it gets a bit of a bad rap for being too exclusive. And I see all the reasons why triathlon is exclusive. I get it. It's just, I feel like I want to find a way to try to present it in a more inclusive way with this channel and through my coaching work, because I really think that it's not just for the people that can afford to go do Ironman races. It's so much more than that. So much more than that. And again, I realize the irony, as someone who's planning on doing an Ironman every year for the foreseeable future, but it's just for me, it's beyond a hobby. So it's something that I do spend a lot of time thinking about. I feel like even just starting a triathlon is a huge thing to be proud of. Finishing one, that's a whole other thing to be celebrated. So my 10-year-old has actually done a couple of multi-sport events. All of them were catered for kids though. So he's done 2 kids triathlons, And this year he did a kids duathlon, which was a run, bike, run. He's into it, but it's definitely not a priority for him. And my wife did a 70.3. We used to train together back in the day, man. We both, we lived in Hawaii, we lived in Honolulu, and both of us did the half Ironman out there in Hawaii. So, actually, we did a race, one of our favorites, the Lanikai Triathlon. We did that one, and my wife was pregnant, but we didn't know it at the time. It was like very early pregnancy. So my son technically did a triathlon when he was like 3 weeks old. He won the youngest athlete division. I mean, if it's something he wants to pursue, he's gonna be set up for success, for sure. But for now, he's only 10 and really don't want to put too much pressure on him. Were you Navy? I was in the Navy, but I was in the Marine Corps part of the Navy. So yeah, I did 5 years of active duty service in the Marine Corps way back in the day during Operation Iraqi Freedom and Operation Enduring Freedom, 2004 to 2009. Spent 3 years on inactive reserve and then got out in 2012, so more than 10 years ago. I had a very interesting job in the Marine Corps. I was a 0511, 0511, which is a Marine Air Ground Task Force Planning Specialist. It's a real thing. When I was in, there were about 250 enlisted Marines that did the job in the entire Marine Corps. And the Marine Corps is the only branch that has enlisted people working on logistics planning and contingency planning. So it was a very interesting place to be. Hey, thank you for your service. Hell yes. Oh, wow. Wow, wow, wow. Wow. So, when I joined, you were already seasoned. And then when I got out, you were still on the call for another year or so. Well, I really look up to people like you, and thank you for your service. I mean, I've never quite found a home like the Marine Corps ever since I left. I felt like I was surrounded by these virtuous people that were, I mean, just devoted, like they're dedicating their entire lives in service of the country, you know. I had so many enlisted leaders that I looked up to, handful of officers as well that I got to know, and yeah, got out in the real world and was just sort of disillusioned at the standards of everything and what qualified people to be leaders. I don't know if I would have made a good leader. I mean, I was a sergeant. I had a very limited experience with having people directly in my command. I was never a platoon sergeant or section leader. I literally had one lance corporal to deal with. That was it. So, got to Houston in 2017, my wife finished up her PhD in physics at the University of Hawaii. And during that period of time, she did some interviewing with the Space Radiation Analysis Group, which is based here at Johnson Space Center. So they pretty much made her a job offer before she graduated. And this was a huge opportunity for her, for us. So yeah, we moved from Honolulu to Houston. And here we are, man, we're getting ready to go to the moon. You're in Norfolk? Yo, I had a blast at Little Creek, Virginia, man, oh my God. The schoolhouse for my MOS is there. EWTG Lant, Expeditionary Warfare Training Group, Atlantic, Little Creek. Shout out to the Marine Corps band. They get trained out there too. Dude, it was so fun. I was so OFP. Got out of combat training, got to Little Creek, slept for like a week because I was so sick after MCT. MCT was brutal, man. It broke everybody. And then woke up in this new world where I had my own barracks room. I didn't have formation to go to. There were only like 8 of us. So they trusted us as privates and PFCs to basically get ourselves to and from the classroom every day. It was awesome. And we were just watching the band. All the other Marines that were there were in the band. And they were in like mini boot camp. We were watching them march around, and they were waiting outside the chow hall doing their little stupid games. And we'd be like walking past, just like wearing sunglasses and shit. Oh man, it was fun. It was awesome. We had a really chill corporal too. The guy that was in charge of us was like super, he was like I think he was like an artist. He would be like, all right, that's the business of the day. Check out this artwork. Like, and he'd come through and he told us straight up, he's like, as long as you use orange scented Dawn detergent to clean y'all's heads, I'ma walk in, I'ma sniff it, and I'ma walk right out. So we just got a bottle of that stuff and we all shared it. Anyway, I have so many good positive memories, like just time of my life there. And I was only there for maybe 3 months, 4 months. Oh, you're there too? Hell yeah. Amazing what happens. People, yeah, get treated like adults. Dude, that was crazy. I did my first ever load of laundry there. I remember that, it was surreal. I was like, doing my own laundry. I was like, what the hell? Trying to flirt with anything that moved. Except for the female Marines, man. I'm really lucky that my recruiter really set me up for success. My recruiter was like, it's gonna sound messed up a little bit. He told me, he's like, hey, Marines, you're all brothers, you're all our sisters. Would you go fuck your sister? Like, what? He's like, think about it. You wouldn't do that trash, right? I'm like, no. That's the way you have to approach it. He's like, you do not want to be caught in bed with your sister. He's like, at the very least, keep it in the bag until you get to the fleet. Those were his words. He's like, no matter what, do not get tangled up. Do not have a relationship. And I watched it all around me, and it was a mess. And I never got caught up in any of it. And then I never ended up dating any female Marines, because after Norfolk, I got stationed in a place where there weren't any female Marines. 3rd Marine Regiment, Infantry, Headquarters Platoon. So I got to have probably the closest experience one could have to being the real deal 0311 rifleman without actually having to do it. And those guys are the salt of the earth, yo. Real deal. Freaking awesome people. I really enjoyed supporting the infantry, even if they hated my guts and called me a pogue and couldn't stand everybody in the company, headquarters company. I get it, man. Totally get it. But everything that we did was to try to enable those guys to accomplish their mission. And even though I didn't realize it then, I can look back on it now and I feel very, very proud, knowing the kind of things that were happening to service members at that period of time. I mean, I unloaded, the first weekend I got to the fleet, I unloaded all the baggage from 1st Battalion, 3rd Marines that had just returned from the 2nd Battle of Fallujah. And from that moment on, for 38 months at 3rd Marines, we were in support of a battalion deploying to both theaters. So one of the battalions would be in Afghanistan, the other one would be in Iraq, and the other one would be training. And I did a lot of the training with those battalions while they were there in Hawaii. Also went to TACX, 29 Palms, Pohakalua training area, Bellows training area, Kauai, Pacific Missile Range training area. I got to do 2 floats on aircraft carriers. I mean, I did a lot in 5 years. I'm gonna go for 5 more minutes and take a break. Appreciate you hanging out, getting me telling war stories. 2 floats. I got to, we participated in RIMPAC, so while the battalions were out doing their thing, the regimental headquarters was training to deploy as a regimental headquarters. So at the time, we were participating in all of these sort of C2PC, which is like command, control, protocol, something like that. All this like high level, sort of command level training that they were doing with the staff at 3rd Marines. So one of the things we got to do was basically be the, I think it's called a Commodore, I can't quite remember. Landing Forces Commander, that's it. Our colonel got to go and be the Landing Forces Commander during this exercise called RIMPAC. So there was a battalion of Marines from Pendleton Infantry that was on the boat, and we served as their command center. So I got to do that, and before we went and actually did the exercise, we did like an advanced party They flew us out to California, San Diego. We got on the ship. We floated back to Hawaii, and then got to do it all over again as part of the exercise. So 2 trips on the now defunct Bonhomme Richard LHD5 caught on fire. I actually have a t-shirt hanging up over here. I can see it from the Bonhomme Richard food service, the galley crew. They had these t-shirts that I thought were really cool, and made friends with one of them and said, hey, yo, I'll trade you this 3rd Marines skivvy shirt for one of your food service shirts, and made the trade, and I got it hanging up over here. I had the pleasure, I mean, not every Marine gets to do this stuff, you know? I got to black out in San Diego and wake up on the boat. No recollection of how I got back on there. That was one of the scariest blackouts of my young drinking career. The last thing I remember was this midshipman we were hanging out with tried to make a pot of coffee, and smack, we're out in town at this like apartment condominium common area. Last thing I remember is that midshipman just smashing the shit out of that coffee pot by accident and being just glass everywhere. And then I blacked out. Next thing I know, next moment of consciousness, I'm back in my rack. That little coffin-shaped thing on the boat, and we're straight up underway. Like, I don't know if they just knew I was hungover. I don't know how I was allowed to just sleep in my rack until whatever time I woke up. But when I got up and walked out, there were all these signs leading up to the deck. And they were having like a barbecue up there. It was like I don't know if it was like like Anchors Away party or something like that. But it was surreal, man. I walked up there. Everyone's on the flight deck. There's hamburgers and hot dogs, soda. I was underage, so I don't remember if they had beer. They were doing tricycle races up and down the strip on the boat, and I was like, dude, the Navy is awesome. What the hell? This is like a floating party right now. I mean, the rest of my trip on the boat wasn't so fun. I had 12-hour shifts at the Landing Forces Operations Center, and all I was doing on those shifts, I swear to God, all I was doing was hitting a mouse on the keyboard every couple minutes to make sure the screen didn't go to sleep. Because if the screen went to sleep, the E9 was the only dude that had the password to get it unlocked, and this E9 in particular was like the last guy you wanted to go and talk to and say, hey, Master Guns, I messed up, I didn't hit the mouse. He'd chew you out. He would just F-bomb you up and down. He was like, having him in charge was like, everyone was always nervous because they knew he would just go off on people. That dude drank a 2-liter of Coke Zero before lunch and after lunch every day. He was crazy. Anyway. Whew. stop talking about this. Yes, take care. Oh, cool. Enterprise. Damn. Wow. Wow, 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 wow. That's awesome. Thank you, Mr. Webster. Thank you for your service. Appreciate you hanging out too, man. Oh, that's awesome. I bet this guy has some crazy stories, man. I dream about getting back in the Marine Corps all the time. I probably have dreams about being back in the Marine Corps like once a week. Sometimes it sucks, but most of the time I'm really excited about it. Oh, they let me back in. I'm 40 years old, but they let me back in. And I'm always jinging about trying to find my uniform and stuff. I wake up and I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm not in the Marine Corps again. I didn't even know what the Marine Corps was when I joined it. I found out. Found out real quick. All right, I'm gonna drop that power target down. I was getting a little fired up thinking about all this. Whew. All the adventures of being a junior enlisted Marine. Woo! Appreciate you hanging out with me here on a Tuesday. Sitting at 4 likes. Fantastic. Yeah, the dock party, yo. That was so fun. Hanging out with those midshipmen, man. I feel like that's the only way I got back on that boat was because I was hanging out with the midshipmen. Little almost officers. Like, that's the only explanation I have for getting back on that boat. In fact, if I remember correctly, one of the midshipmen I was hanging out with, her mother was a lieutenant commander in the Navy. And we had actually spent the day at the San Diego Zoo. And I got to hang out. I came along with them. She was giving them all sorts of officer advice, talking about the troops. It was kind of funny. She kept referring to the troops. And I'm standing right there. I'm Lance Corporal Davenport. I'm just like, hey, I'm right here. I think she even gestured at me once when she said the troops. She's like, the troops. Not in a disrespectful way though. I remember this lady, man. She looked like Miss Frizzle. She had like short red hair. She wasn't wearing her uniform, but I knew she was a 05. That I was hanging out with these midshipmen, and something tells me that it's possible, because I was with this same group of people when we were drinking. Maybe they all got too drunk. Maybe somebody had to call mom. Maybe mom was able to just be like, hey, yeah, there's a Marine with them, but they all need to get back on the boat. I don't know. As far as I'm concerned, I think you're supposed to this whole procedure to get back on the ship, you know? I think you're supposed to be, you know, conscious and able to produce your ID card. But that's probably what actually happened. I just don't remember. And I'm pretty sure I was underage. That's why this is also one of those how the heck did I get away with it type of stories. I have photos from that night. And my buddy from high school was there. We had both joined together. He was stationed up the coast of California and drove down. Good times. Oh, here comes the mountain. Sitting at 92 average cadence, 197 watts, average power. Taking a little bit of a break and drop the power down. Keep it right here for maybe another 10 minutes and then maybe pop up to 215, 220. Gotta take in some more calories before we do that. Appreciate you checking out TriVibes TV today. More than halfway through this ride. Looking to finish out nice and easy for the remainder here. Drop that heart rate down a little bit. I was getting pretty excited talking to our friend in the comments there. But I wasn't getting too out of breath. Close though. If I'm out of breath, that's a pretty clear sign I'm not riding easily enough. Average cadence sitting at 92. Average power 197. Average heart rate 144. Pretty good. Legs are cooperating so far. Shoulders are feeling a lot better than they were the other day. Yeah, we're way more than halfway done. Got a bit of a mountain to climb here though. Looks like we're gonna be going up for a while. Not quite yet, but we're just getting to the base of this climb. It'll probably take at least 10 minutes, judging by the size of it. Spend a little bit more time down here in the aero position before the climb starts. this is the beginning of the climb. Had a really good strength session this morning. 2 different kinds of deadlifts. I did deadlifts with the bar, straight bar. Also did deadlifts with kettlebell. And then I had some gorilla rows and some bird dog rows and some little split lunge jumps, some overhead shoulder carry. Pretty good workout. Yesterday I had 15 Turkish get-ups to do, so I was a little sore from those. But the deadlifts felt good this morning. I'm just like, I've only been lifting weights seriously for like 6 months, and I'm not even lifting that much weight, but like the way that you feel after doing 3 sets of 5 at a challenging weight, like, whew, it's kind of a rush. Like, definitely enjoying the strength training I'm doing. I found a great strength coach. I'm excited to think about what kind of strength training I could be doing if I just keep it up. You know, if I can get a year under my belt, start looking at maybe, you know, heavier weight, more advanced lifts. Like, I feel like I'm so new at it that I have so much to gain still. You know, I've been doing triathlon training for 12 years. No time in 12 years have I done more than 1 strength session a week consistently. So I'm that triathlete that has been checking my strength training box, but never really focusing on it. And that's the shift that I've made in the last 6 months. And now I do 2 focused strength sessions where it's the first thing I do, first thing in the morning, priority 1. And then I have 2 to 3 supporting strength sessions that are 10 to 15 minutes on the other days. Just like core work, Turkish get-ups. And I haven't missed a single workout since I started in July. dropped out. Oh well. At least we're back. That was an easy fix too. All right, 45 minutes. Let's get this over with. All right. It's taking a little while here. I don't think we're gonna have to stop again. Let's finish this ride. There we go. All right. All right, let's try to up the power target. See how 220 feels. Maybe get that heart rate up a little bit higher than it's been. Swapping these bottles out. $220 feels really good right now. 220 feels like 180 did. All right, let's cruise. Almost to the top. We're gonna go flying downhill here soon. Getting ready to say wee. Wee! I think this is the top. Yeah, there we go. Up over the top. Starting the descent. Whew. And my front end is dipping down here. Woo! "35 miles an hour. Hard to stay on the saddle. Heart rate's right there. Zone 2 heart rate. Good power. Great cadence. Let's rock this for another 32 minutes. Here we go, whee! This feels great. Heart rate is super solid right here. Right, final half hour. Actually, that's not correct. 40 more minutes. That's okay. We're chilling. Trying to focus on my breathing today. I just remembered I get to go to the dentist after this. Yeah. You know, it's actually kind of nice because you just get to sit there, you know? Sit there, keep the mouth open, relax. Last time I went to the dentist was only 3 months ago, so I know my teeth are in much better shape than they were last time. Because last time I went, I think I hadn't been in about 1.5 years. So I fell off the horse. I think for me, getting a cleaning every 3 months works way better. What's up, Alan? Just got done with Ruby. Hell yes. You did a race and a group ride, nice deal. I have a Zone 2 ride today. Trying to ride a little bit high Zone 2 time power for the last 30 minutes here. Sitting at 199 watts so far. Average cadence 92. I've been having a good stream. Telling some war stories. Had another veteran here in the comments talking about our time in the Navy. So, and I had a good strength training session this morning. 2 different flavors of deadlift. Some other stuff thrown in as well. Whew. Trying to spend more time down in the aero bars today. Oh yeah. That's awesome, Alan. Sounds like a fun race. 25, hell yeah. That sounds like fun. I'm having fun over here too. Got a 4-hour ride on Sunday, so I'm telling myself that 2 hours, no big deal today. And hopefully next Sunday, we'll get out and do a 90-mile training ride on the road. Followed by a run. Kind of like a early race rehearsal for Ironman Texas. That's coming up a week from Sunday. I think I'm gonna be ready. I think we're gonna be ready for that 90 miles. It's gonna feel good to get outdoors. Lord knows I'm putting in the time on the trainer. Average power 228. Hell yeah. Sounds like a strong ride, Alan. I had my normalized average for Tuesday's ride for an hour was 277. I was like, whoa, that's fun. I'm not necessarily chasing a bigger FTP, but I'd like to think that that number is going to go up as my strength training continues. After Ironman Texas, I think I'm going to try to focus on some short distance sprint races again. There's just a couple of them here in the area that I really like. And so I don't think I'm going to try to train for another long distance race in 2026. Get it out of the way in April. Yo, Alan, do you have any races coming up as prep before your 70.3? And have you completed? I apologize if I am just forgetting, but have you already completed some shorter distance triathlons? Two sprint, two Olympic. Oh, hell yeah. That's awesome. That's great prep. Very nice. I've started to really enjoy sprint racing because the last 2 seasons I've had some really fun results. I had a overall win in 2024, and then in 2025 I had 3 Masters overall wins, top 3, and that's just fun, man. Like, there's no way around that. Like, it's fun to be trying to race like that. I have a pretty strong bike for short course. I'm usually one of the top bike splits, but there's a lot of athletes that are faster than me in the water and quite a few that are faster than me on their feet. So I usually just try to kill it on the bike and then hang on for dear life. And it works out pretty well. So oh, cool, you're gonna do like a rehearsal, like a, yeah, that's great. Olympic distance is probably the hardest, in my opinion. That's like the one distance I'm the most intimidated by. I would rather do a sprint, a full, or even a half. Olympic is just like, for me, that just, it's a challenge. Trying to run a really fast 10K, it's a big ask for my current level of mental and physical strength here. I've only raced Olympic twice. I did one back in 2011 and I did one in 2020. 2020, yeah. Or no, it was 2021. I did one in 2021. Average power up to 201. Average cadence sitting at 92. Your cadence is much more than mine. Cadence is one of those things that's, I think, a little bit hard to nail down as far as an optimal number that's gonna work for everybody. When I first got into paying attention to my cadence, I really struggled to maintain anything close to 90. I was sitting around 78, 82, and riding at 90 felt very inefficient and sort of unsustainable. And since working with my coach, he's been pretty big about getting my cadence up to 90. And now I've eclipsed that, and I'm averaging higher than 90 on a lot of training rides. So the reason that my coach wants me at 90 is because he wants me running at 180. And 180 steps per minute is the exact same rhythm as 90 cadence. And I think that I have definitely felt increases in my efficiency while targeting that level of tempo. So I'm easily running at 180 on the run now, and I'm easily handling 90. So I think that it took a couple years for my body to adapt. But now that I'm here, I'm not quite sure there's really any point in trying to get faster with it. Like, some athletes, you know, they'll average 98. You know, and athletes that are focused on pure cycling might have a different approach as well. But yeah, the numbers that I'm targeting were provided by my coach and derived around optimal running cadence. So it's kind of a little roundabout way to get to it, but that is that's the thinking under the hood there. And I remember running at 180 felt so crazy at first, because what you do is you get a metronome, a little digital one, or you get an app, and you just play 180, bap, 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 bap. And you start running in place, bap, 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 bap. And then you just lean forward and go, bap, 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 bap. And you just sort of get better and better at hanging on to that rhythm. But I mean, there's pro triathletes that are in the Ironman world that are, I mean, they got their cleats in the middle of their feet. They're riding 82 average. I mean, so it's really hard to be like, hey, everybody needs to aspire to 90, or I think it's been a good thing for me to focus on. It's helped me become a more efficient athlete. I've also dropped my crank size down. That's like a popular thing right now. I'm riding 165 millimeter cranks, and I'm like 6'2". So I used to be on 175s, and then 172s, and then 170s, and now 165. Yeah, man, you know me, I'm an open book. Happy to chat about any and all of it. Yeah, dude, that's another great way to do it. You find that songs and music that have the right cadence. There's a lot of music that I produce. I mean, all the music that you hear on this channel is all music that I've produced, and some of it I've produced like explicitly for training music. And I will use 180 BPM or 90 to get that same effect. I like the idea of releasing an album of all the songs being at 180 or 90, or some multiple. That would be kind of cool. Like, I have no idea what this one's BPM is. I think it's a little slower. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't know, I couldn't tell you. I'm not that good. I will say that years of cadence training on the bike and the run, I'm pretty good at just doing it naturally. Like I've sort of like my musculoskeletal system and my nerves and everything, they're pretty used to that tempo now. So it's like I can kind of lock into it without really needing to pay attention to my watch. One thing I struggle with on the run actually is when I try to run faster, my cadence goes up like too much. Like I'm like Sonic the Hedgehog. When I'm trying to run like fast, I jump up, I'm like 195 cadence, and it's just like, it's not sustainable at all. You watch really good runners, 800 meter runners, mile runners, shit, even half marathoners, like, they don't have crazy high foot cadence. They have really long stride length. So on the run, I'm really trying to get more out of each, not stroke, each step. Trying to extend that stride length. Hell yeah, get that snow. Nice job training today, Alan. Thank you for popping in and letting us know about your training day. Whoa, what did we get? I got a Tour de Zwift Stage 2. No idea what that means. Party shades? What? Should I put those on? I'm gonna put them on. One does not simply ignore their party shades. All right, I wanna wear them. I wanna see what these party shades are all about. And I wanna take a little break, because that's what you do. That's what I do around here, I take breaks. Party shades! Woo! How do I do it? Oh no, what have I done? Fox ears. It's all happening right here on Zwift. Oh, happy to be almost done. I've got deadlift legs. I can feel my hamstrings, my whole posterior chain. I'm a little shaky. All right. Woo! Now we're cooking with gas. Appreciate you tuning in today. Thank you for hanging out. We got 18 more minutes of riding to do. And we gotta take a shower and go to the dentist. It's gonna be awesome. Locked in. Spent a decent amount of time in the aero bars today. Roughly, I'd like to think at least 45 minutes, which is good, man. My shoulder was really bothering me on Sunday's ride. Like, I really couldn't ride down here. It was funny, man. I was suffering sitting up, and somebody in the comments hopped in and was just like, bro, get in the bars. What are you doing? What the F? I thought that was awesome. Like, why? You got these extension bars, you're just sitting there looking at them. But yeah, I couldn't, like, it was uncomfortable. Feels solid today. Hopefully Sunday I'll feel solid as well. I'm gonna get started nice and early on Sunday, 4-hour ride. I'll make sure I'm starting before the sun is up. Appreciate you hanging out today. I am training for Ironman Texas, and I'm making a lot of content pertaining to that. So every Monday I put up a training video, day by day look at the week. If you're interested in checking any of that out, I'd appreciate hitting subscribe. And either way, I appreciate you tuning in today, even if it's just for a minute. Even if you don't hit subscribe, it really helps me out. Yes. 5 more minutes. I'm gonna up the power a little bit. Come on. I'm feeling good. $2:15 for the final 5. And then I got a 10-minute cool down. Average power sitting at 201. Average cadence floating at 92. Average heart rate 145. High zone 1. Nice aerobic effort today. Spirits are high. My teeth, however, are dirty. That's why I'm going to the dentist. You know you're getting old when you start looking forward to going to the dentist, man. I'm like excited about it. This is definitely a shift. A girl I dated a long time ago who I valued the opinions of very greatly once told me, "You have such nice teeth. It would be a shame if you didn't take care of them and you let them get all nasty when you were a grown-up." And for some reason, that's always stuck with me. And it's like, I don't know if I'm ever gonna see her again, but if I do, I am gonna have the best teeth that I can possibly have. Be like, see? I listened. I took care of my teeth. Shout out to any dental, oral hygienists. I know there's a lot of y'all in the sport of triathlon. I appreciate what you do. Can't be easy having your hands in someone's mouth all day. All right, 2.5 minutes right here at 220 watts. Then we'll start the cool down. Hell of a ride. Feeling better right now than I did when I started. That's always that's the calling card of a good easy ride in my book. You feel better when you're done than when you started. That's an easy ride right there. Hanging out right here. 220 for 215. Feels good right now. Keeping that heart rate elevated a little bit. Nice deep breath. All right, 1 minute. Twenty seconds. Cool down incoming. Woo! Oh, it's the same power. It's the same power I was doing. There we go, 205. There we go. Nice. Got my heart rate up right where I wanted to get it today. Great cadence. Decent power. these Thursday rides are getting longer. I'm here for it. Alright, so the power target's going to gradually decrease over the next 8 minutes. Got to keep that cadence up. I'm really glad I ate my second breakfast before the ride. I would be starving right now if I didn't. And got just enough time to shower, eat some food, and get over to the dentist. And then after that, I don't really know. Stop pedaling for a second. Whoa. Just trying to get to that cool down phase. There we go. Heart rate dropping down 130. Yeah. It's not time to work anymore. It's time to chill. Wow, look at that heart rate drop. Oh, that feels good. Feels relieving. My heart rate just crashed 30 BPM. Nice and easy. I'm letting my cadence drop a little bit. Trying to keep that heart rate down. So let my body know that it's off the hook. We don't have to keep riding today. This will be the halfway point on Sunday for our 4-hour ride. Oh, what? You just ordered this Zwift bike? How exciting is that? That's awesome. That looks like a fantastic training tool. That's exciting, yo. I would say congrats, but like, you gotta get it in the house first, right? Let's make sure it arrives in one piece. Woo! Thanks for sharing that, Brendan. I think that's a smart investment. I mean, you don't only have to ride on Zwift with it. There's so many other platforms now, like virtual cycling, gamified fitness. It's here, it's arrived. It's the future. That virtual shifting setup on the Zwift bike sounds pretty dang slick to me too. I'm tempted to get that for my time trial bike, get the little Zwift cog. But I haven't pulled the trigger on it yet. Yeah, you know, if you want to compete, you know, that's a tool. I mean, it's going to be a lot easier for you to feel confident on that dedicated piece of hardware you know that you're on like the sort of standard, you know, sort of like the standard of the sport, highly integrated. I think also the what is it, like 10 kilohertz race mode, where it's like a higher frequency with the power transmission. There's something about, I haven't done any racing, so I know that the new trainer that I bought has that feature as well, like 10 kilohertz, like wideband power connection for race accuracy. But yeah, I imagine that Zwift bike is going to be a great tool for you. I'm interested in trying to do some team time trials. Like if there was a team that you know, maybe got to know me, or you know, maybe found me here on YouTube, or you know, if they look at what I'm capable of in some of my workouts, and I would love it if somebody said, hey, we want you to come join our team time trial. I would be all about that. So yeah, maybe someday I'll do a team time trial. I would love it. I don't know about doing like an all-out race on my own. Like that doesn't sound nearly as interesting to me as a team time trial. Like even though I don't have a team, that's what I'd prefer to do. Final 2 minutes of this 2-hour effort. I got a date with the dentist here in an hour. It's like a 15-minute drive, so cutting it kind of close here. But I got time to shower and eat some food, maybe a little bit of foam rolling. Let's go say ah. Man, when I saw I had a dentist appointment this week on Thursday, like I knew I had this 2-hour ride. I didn't know what time the appointment was at. I couldn't remember what I had set. And I was really worried that it was gonna be like 9 a.m. or 10 a.m. because I was like, how am I gonna fit a strength session and a 2-hour ride in if this appointment is in the morning? And then I saw it was at 1 o'clock, and I did a little happy dance and said, yay! Past me was smart. Past me knew that I would need a long bike ride on a Thursday in January. And I smartly scheduled it for 1 o'clock. So yes, strength session done. Dog walk done. 2-hour easy ride, almost complete. Here it comes. Yes. There it is. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Yeah. Oh. I think I paced that one pretty well. I feel like that was a good workout. I didn't kill myself. I kept it easy. I was able to talk the whole time. Good stuff. Shout out to David Webster, Multisport Allen, and of course our friend Brendan Law here. Really appreciate you taking the time to hop in the comments on the stream today. It helps more than you know, I'll tell you what. I usually start these streams thinking, I'd be surprised if anybody comments on this video at all today. And then next thing you know, you're hanging out, you're doing a ride, you're chatting it up. Definitely a fan. And yeah, just want to say thank you. Appreciate it. All right, time to end. Time to end. Jane! Stop this crazy thing! All right, that's it for me today. Take care, thanks again. I'll be back on Sunday with a 4-hour ride. And I'm gonna start nice and early, 6 a.m. hopefully, Sunday morning. 4-hour zone 2 effort. Looking forward to it. Whew. Take care, I'll see you next time.